Hello, hello, welcome everyone. We have a very, very special lesson for you today. You will see my friend Sandy from Google is with me again. We'll introduce her in just a second, but before we get rolling, you are here because it's National Floral Design Day. Who knew? But we knew we wanted to work with some technology, Google Slides, explore floral design and some symbols in Cree culture. It's an exciting, exciting lesson coming up. So stay tuned for that. Before we begin, as you always know, we start with our land acknowledgement. And if you haven't seen native-land.ca, it's a great website with so much information, and that's how I was able to learn more about the lands that I am on. So I would like to acknowledge I am here in Calgary, Treaty 7 territory. This is the Indigenous lands, the traditional territories of the Blackfoot, the Piikani, the Kainai are here, Stoney Nakoda, Tsuut'ina, the Métis, rich cultures in and around the Calgary area. And I'm so thankful to be able to be here on these lands. So with that, who am I? If you haven't met me before, my name is Michelle Armstrong. I told you I'm from Calgary, and I'm with the Cobblestone Collective, which is a third-party PD provider that gets to work alongside Google to produce events just like this. If you are brand new to these events, here's a little bit of housekeeping for you. Teachers, we are coming to you via YouTube Live. If we go too fast, you just go ahead and pause, get those students all sorted, and then come on back. We'll be here. And of course, the replay will be there. If you're joining us for the recording, thank you. And hello, I'm so glad you stopped by. But how do you communicate with us? Students, you'll see there's no chat. But if you go right now, open up a brand new tab and type in that link, thecc.page/answers. thecc.page/answers. Put that in a new tab. It's a Google form. And Billy, Joe, Yvonne, Jennifer, Braden, Tamara, Francis, Aleda, Zachariah, you guys have already found that form. So hello to all of you. The rest of you, get yourself onto that form. Let us know what's your name and where are you joining us from? If you want to let us know what traditional territories you're on, let us know, or just the city or town. We want to know who's here with us. With that, speaking of who's here with us, Sandy Curry is here with us again. Welcome, Sandy.
Hello, Michelle, and educators, students across Canada. I'm excited to be here with you to be able to help bring this to you. And full disclosure, I am no expert at this, so I'm going to be working alongside of you, maybe in the back of the broadcast studio, but can't wait to see the creativity and the collaboration and the sharing and the learning that we're about to embark on together. So like Michelle said, Sandy Curry. I'm the STEM Computer Science Outreach Program Manager for Google Canada and cannot wait to see what Carrie and Emma have in store for us. And Michelle, look at this form, just blowing up with lots of students joining us. We have Angie, we have Marquis, Joel, Harvish, Charlotte, Haley, Tyler, Avon, Hilla, Anja, lots and lots of students. Cannot wait to see what we're going to do together.
I have to give a couple of more shout outs. We have Miss Cannikins is here from Medicine Hat. I wonder if you have students with you. Welcome to you and all of those students. Miss Trapp is here from Cambridge, Ontario. And I think I have to send a special shout out to Diane, who's from Musquecheese, which I'm guessing Diane knows, one of our panel guests today. But hello to you, Diane. All right, students. We are going to get to more shout outs very, very soon. We need to invite our special guest in here to give you just a quick background. The Cobblestone Collective, we are a team of educators from all across our country. These two educators I'm about to introduce to you, they are current teachers that are able to spend an hour with us also teaching you. So we are thrilled thrilled to have the following two people joining us. We have Emma Cottier from Victoria, and we have Carrie Okemau from Edmonton. Let's start with you, Emma. Do you want to give a quick introduction?
Yeah, welcome everyone. It's an honor. I have like the dream position here with Sandy and Michelle and Carrie, but I'm Emma. I'm from Victoria, BC, on the traditional territory of the West Saanich people. I'm also a grade 8 teacher, and I'm going to be helping with the design today.
Fabulous, fabulous. And Carrie, welcome to you. Tell us a little bit about you.
Tanse Anin Buju, Carrie Okemau Nitisnagason. My name is Carrie Okemau. I am originally from Treaty 1, and I have Treaty 5 roots. I'm married to Treaty 6, where I am currently working out of, and I've been teaching for just over 8 years, and I teach in the community of Muscogees. Woo, woo, the Muscogees.
And Carrie, you also mentioned to us earlier, so we do a land acknowledgement, yet you do a treaty acknowledgement. Would you be able to explain a little bit more about that for us?
Yeah, I wanted to share this teaching that I got from my work. I work at such an awesome place where culture and language is the foundation of where I work. And one of the things that was explained to me was me as an Indigenous person who is Indigenous to Turtle Island. I do a treaty acknowledgement. So I kind of snuck that in a little bit into my intro, where I said I was from and then where I currently reside. But one of the things that I was taught too was, as settlers, they do a land acknowledgement. They acknowledge the land that they are now on. But me as an Indigenous person, because my ancestors were here since time immemorial, I do a treaty acknowledgement.
I love that. And that's brand new learnings for me too. So Carrie, thank you so much for sharing that. Well, we are excited to learn from you, Carrie. You've got some background and history we're going to hear more about, and it has to do with flowers. So students, if you are looking for any shout outs in the form, you now need to answer this question. What is your favorite kind of flower? Me personally, I'm a fan of, I think tiger lilies are cool. So any of you in Saskatchewan, I think that's the provincial flower. Sandy, I know we're saying goodbye to you. You're going to go to the background studio. But before we do, what's your favorite flower?
Well, I think I'm going to pick a trillium. I think that might be one of it's a pure sign of spring. I often think of it around the beginning of May when we're acknowledging Mother's Day. So I always look forward to seeing a trillium. So I'm going to go with that for today.
All right. Well, Sandy, with that, let's put you back in the broadcast studio. I know you're going to be working alongside. We'll see you near the end, but thank you for being here. We'll see you in a bit. And students, I promised shout outs. Emma, do we have shout outs for anyone who mentioned
I have
their
so
flowers?
many in this form. I love it. I want to give a shout out to Rose. She's from Treaty 7. So thank you for joining. We have Lucas and Ginger and Yvonne and Addison, Olivia, Catherine. We even have Poppy from England. Like, wow. Amazing. So thank you all. Keep using this form. It is literally blowing up. So we would love to do shout outs. I have a few more. Finley, Mateo, Jordan, Kate, Dylan, Max, William. We have a whole bunch from Ontario, and we have Joel who loves the sunflower.
Yeah, there's the cool flower shout outs coming up. So Isadora likes the lilacs. I agree, love them too. A lot of students like lilies. So Liam likes lilies. Oh, tulips. Liam also likes tulips, and Mateo likes tulips. We got roses. We got daisies. Oh, Ginger likes sunflowers as well. Ooh, Vanessa, orchids. Very nice. Love that. Oh, Casey likes the tiger lily as well. Oh, wow. There's just too many here with this. Do you know what, Carrie, I got to ask you, what's your favorite flower?
I don't have a favorite flower because they are all my favorite.
There are some students that said that very thing. So you got people just like you. Well, Emma, what is our plan for today?
Perfect. Let's kickstart the plan today. Our number one thing on the plan today is we're through Carrie's guidance. And let me just say, it's an honor to be able to recreate. You're going to learn Carrie's story, and I am fangirling over here, but we are going to learn how to create a blueberry, a 4-petal flower, a 5-petal flower, but we're also then going to combine them together, and a little bit of math, which I love and I know Carrie loves, but we're going to do our beautiful combination, and we're going to transform this and do some reflections. And I'm not going to quite spoil what we're doing because it's going to be inspired by Carrie's story.
And with
that, Carrie, who you just met, is the inspiration today. It is because of her that we are here today. And Carrie, I'd love for you to tell us a little bit about your story, which is going to segue into the design I'm going to do with all our students today.
Yeah, I just wanted to start to share my story by thinking about and remembering where I come from. I can remember at a very young age, 4 or 5, I was sitting at my grandmother's kitchen table and seeing them bead, and I was in love. I was just absolutely taken back by the beauty of what my late grandmother and my late auntie did. And they created beautiful moccasins, beautiful mucklucks, and they used that and they sold it at markets and they sold it to other families. And I learned how to take care of myself. I learned Cree because my grandmother couldn't speak Cree. I don't even know how we understood each other half the time, but we figured a way to connect through beadwork. And everything I am is because of my grandmothers, my cookums that have raised me to appreciate my Cree language, my Cree culture. And I joined powwows. I danced and I sang powwows my whole life. And I went into creating outfits. And I literally got sick. I got sick of traveling from fabric store to fabric store when I was about 18, 19, 20. I took up sewing and I would have images in my mind. I wanted this purple fabric with these beautiful, bright, dark purple flowers or something, and I couldn't find it. So I said, you know what? I'm going to teach myself digital design. I'm going to teach myself Adobe Illustrator. So that's one thing that I wanted to share was if you have a dream, don't give up. Do one thing every day. Make your dreams as big as the eagle fly. That's what my mom taught me. I have such beautiful mentors in my life, and I want to really appreciate and acknowledge them because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for them. So that's my story.
And what a fabulous, fabulous story as well, Carrie. I know we're gonna talk a little bit more about that later. But students, just to take a look on the screen, these are some of Carrie's designs. As she mentioned, she learned digital design herself today with Emma's help. We're gonna be designing some of these as well.
And so I might say, students, take note of these beautiful, vibrant colors in Carrie's fabric. So we're going to be pulling out some of these colors today, and we are essentially going to make our own digital fabric today. So here's digital Carrie and I, and which I love. Hi, digital Carrie. We are going to create these patterns. Now, before we jump into any design, both Carrie and I want to let you know that you have creative freedoms to express yourself, things that might be near and dear to your family and your family story, but also colors. So you can see that I've done 2 variations for you. And everyone's design is going to look different. And we love that. We want you to just remind you can pick your colors, your color schemes, but this is the goal. Our goal is to use Carrie's digital design journey. And we're going to do the Google version of it. So we're going to be in Google Slides today, and we're going to create our own digital pattern. And these patterns can then be used for all sorts of things. Maybe it's going to be your new home screen today on your device. Maybe it's going to be your new, on your phone, or maybe you want to get it printed and framed because it showcases an aspect of your story. So, Carrie, are we ready to dive into this design?
Why not?
Oh, let's do it. So, students, the very first thing you will need to do is to open up Google Slides. So, Michelle, just confirming you can see my slides there.
We sure can.
Perfect. Now, Carrie, actually, let's just get set up first. So anytime we open up a brand new Google slide, let's title it in the top left-hand corner. And I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see. So we're going to call this Carrie Inspiration, or Carrie Demo, or Carrie Digital Design. The other thing we want to do when we're designing is making sure that we start with a blank canvas. So we're going to go ahead and switch to the blank layout. So we've titled our slides in the top left-hand corner, and I'm going to just show you that layout again because I did do it really quickly. Under layout, blank is the bottom one. You have to like scroll down sometimes depending. We want blank, or just click and drag and delete that way. But maybe Carrie can tell us about the first element in our design, which is going to be a blueberry.
And before we do, though, students, we are assuming most of you out there know how to get yourself into a new Google Slides file. If not, there's a super quick, easy way. Jump into a new tab and type slides.new. Brand new slides file is there for you. Go ahead and give it a name and find yourself to a blank page, just like Emma did. We're going to go into some background story about the blueberry. So while Carrie is doing that, you'll have a chance to get yourself into a new Google Slides file, give it a title, and then we'll start designing. So Carrie, then back to you. We would love to hear more about the very first element. We're going to be designing the blueberry.
So one of the first things that I wanted to share that I forgot to add to my slide was how you say berries. It's pretty similar in Cree and Ojibwe, Nehewewin, or Anishinaabe. You say minsa. And maybe I wasn't meant to have it on the slide because how we teach our language is like I speak and then the listener listens. And that was one of the things that I was thinking about when I was working is it's always good to be in a good space because I feel like you got to be at your creative best. And what I do is I try and make sure nothing is distracting me, and I try and think about what I want to create. And when I was thinking about how to teach the blueberry and the cultural significance of the blueberry, I'm like, I looked at one and I did it backwards. So as a digital designer, I should have looked at it a long time ago. Next time you come to blueberries, look at how it looks. And I would always Google blueberries, and I would suggest take a picture or look at the actual image. And I saw different hues of blues, and I saw like a shimmer of white, and the shape is circle. And the blueberry is really significant to Indigenous people across Turtle Island. When I was younger, I remember learning about the berries in our ceremonies. Those specific to being a young woman, we also use it in our feasts. So it's rendered as a special food that we pray with, that we feast with, and one of the other things too is it holds spiritual significance in that we pray to the berries. We acknowledge the spirit of the berries, and that's why I wanted to include the word minsa. And and then I met this actually I didn't meet her. One of my coworkers, she's like incredibly talented, and she told me that we used to use blueberries traditionally for dyeing. So it's like dye, and it's just every single usage you could think of. Indigenous people have already explored it, and I feel like we are true innovators in that sense. really quick story. When I was younger, we were taught, well, my great grandmother said, let's go pick berries. And I don't even remember having berries to bring back to the house. And then I guess she said I would eat all the berries while we were supposed to be picking them. So berries are meant to be picked and enjoyed. And I was never a good berry picker because I guess when I was younger, I would just plant myself in a bush and I would just eat all the berries. And I think I annoyed my great grandmother just a little bit, but I'm glad I had those experiences with her because she taught me, blueberries are really important to us.
I love that. And something I noticed, it is cut off on the slide, but you did mention the significance from region to region. It differs depending on the regions across Canada. Is that right?
Yeah. So when I was researching, when I was kind of reflecting about the berry teachings, like I'm part Anishinaabe and I'm part Mushkego and Ninnu. And so I'm half Cree, half Ojibwe. So there are universal teachings, but it might vary if you're from the East Coast. It might vary if you're from up north. So I'm just sharing what I was taught.
And that's fabulous. And I love to hear you're learning so much along the way as well as we're doing this. So thanks so much for sharing it with us. Well, with that, Emma, you now are going to help us design our blueberry inside Google Slides. And we have a lot of students have told us they're ready. They have their Google Slides file ready to go. So I think let's dive in and create our very first blueberry design.
I love it. And Carrie, I think your great grandmother would be so proud of your journey. So we're going to make her proud with this design. We are going to start with the blueberry. So this is the shape menu here. It's got the overlapping circle and square. And we are going to start with the base of that vibrant blue. And I loved how Carrie mentioned like the different shadings. So I'm going to choose to do, my coloring, but reminding you that, your perspective of the blueberry and how you choose your colors is totally up to you. A little trick in Google Slides, if you hold down the Shift key on your keyboard before you go and get the circle, you will make sure it's perfectly symmetrical. So do you see that there? I'm just going to show it one more time. If you hold down Shift on your keyboard and you go and get the circle, which is actually labeled an oval, I think when you hover over it, we are going to go ahead and get one. You can see this one, I didn't hold down Shift so I can manipulate it, but I'm going to go ahead, hold down Shift and get my first blueberry. And I want to actually have 3 different blueberries. Once that first circle shape is created, make sure you have it highlighted and we can go ahead and choose some colors. And we have the inspiration in the slide deck, but for the blueberry, I'm going to choose, I think, dark blue 1 for the inside. So this is the fill color and fill color with the paint pot. If you are an avid designer in Google Slides, you can make your own custom colors. That's okay too. I'm going to be sticking with the Google palette to start to warm up, and then I might get into some other colors. So dark blue 1. And I loved on Carrie's initial designs. You have those really like thick borders on your fruit, Carrie, which I absolutely love. So for the outside of Carrie's blueberry, I'm going to go to dark blue 3. And we're going to thicken the border weight to, that's a 4. I think a 4 looks pretty good. So I'm going to recap. I did a fill color. I chose the third one up from the bottom. Next door, I picked my border color and I went to that navy right down at the bottom and I adjusted my thickness. And px, if you're wondering, stands for pixel. The bigger the number, the bigger the border. So you can see that I have one of my blueberries already. And Carrie, do you think this would almost look like one of the ones where you would sit and snack on with your great grandmother?
Can I make one suggestion?
Sure.
I start, so like since I looked at an actual blueberry, Are we able to add like a little circle, maybe like a light white?
Yes.
So it's like the
Let's
blueberry
do
and the
this. So students, I am zooming in just so you can see this. So I've zoomed in. So an oval or a circle, Carrie?
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so I'm going to go in and get another circle, and I'm going to make it white, and I'm going to layer it. In graphic design, and this is a great pro tip for designing today, the most recent layer will be on top. So Carrie, how's that?
I love that. I add 1 dot, I add 2 dots. It's totally up to you, but I feel like it gives it the 3-dimensional. It looks like a berry. It looks more like a berry now.
Absolutely. I love it. And students, I am zoomed in here. If you're wondering how I did zoom in, there's a magnifying glass up here, and I just simply went zoom in. Now, Carrie, I notice in a lot of your designs, you have 3 blueberries. So students, you could go back to the circle and add another one and change the color. But I want to show you students how you can kind of, because a lot of Carrie's designs is through patterns and creating these tiles. Once you have one blueberry created,
Just hold tight, Emma, just before you do. So students, what we did there, we created 3 circles. If you're only able to create well, I guess it's 1 circle with an outline, and then we added the other circle on top. If you aren't able to add the circle on top, no problem. Just stick with that 1 circle with the outline. And now you'll definitely want to be looking up at the screen at front, because Emma's going to show you how to duplicate whatever shape you've got.
Yeah.
So everyone, eyes up front.
I do want to give a shout out to Ez and Cohen and Cheyenne and Emerson and Tyler and Gavin and Maeve. I hope your blueberries are off to a great start. So once you have one blueberry created, there's a couple options you can do here. If I click and drag, you'll notice that it selects both of my components, the outline of the blueberry and the little white circle. You can also hold down Shift and select the 2 components. So I'm going to just click and drag. I'm going to highlight both options. I'm going to give you the inside scoop of literally one of my favorite designs, and I'm going to be using this a lot today. Control D. Now, if you're on a Mac, it's going to be Command D. If you're on an iPad, it might be like a 2-finger click. I'm on a regular kind of ThinkPad or a regular laptop. Control D. Watch this magic. So Control D, I'm going to show you that one more time. But I clicked and dragged. I selected my blueberry, Control D, and then with my arrow keys, I can move it around and place it. I can hit Control D again. And I want to make sure I have 3 blueberries, because I don't know, there's something so beautifully symmetric about 3 blueberries. Now, if you want, you can kind of move the shading of the white circle around, but I have 3 blueberries. Well, good shot. And Aria, Humphrey, James, Ben, Eden, great job on your designs. I think we're ready to finish off your design. If you remember originally from Carrie, she had a leaf in there, because we know blueberries, they grow and they have to be picked somewhere. Are we ready to add the final shape? What do you think, Carrie? Should we finish off this blueberry?
Yep, let's finish it up.
Oh, and I just want to get Billy Joe, and just in reminding, like, I love flowers and I love hot flowers too, but also smelling them. I think that's such the experience too. So if you are near some blueberries or some flowers in the warmer months, make sure to smell them. We are going to finish off this design, and this is a shape that I don't use very often. In Google, if you hover, it labels the shapes, but we're going to use this one called a teardrop. It is 4 over and 3 down. So if you hover, it's called the teardrop. You can see that label pop up on my screen. Watch the beauty of the teardrop. Now, you'll see a little yellow kind of diamond that comes up. Anytime you see a diamond call up in a shape, it gives you some option to do a little formatting. But before I do that, let's go ahead and color. We're going to kind of stick with the same thing, maybe a lighter fill, a darker border, Or you know what, Carrie? Let's go in reverse. I'm feeling daring today. I'm going to go a darker and a lighter border. And we're going to stick with the 4 pixel. But watch this. And I'm going to zoom in, maybe students, so you can see this a little better. So I have zoomed in again. And I'm going to go back and get my blueberry here. See that little yellow triangle? We can stretch it out a little bit. Do you see that? I'm going to show you one more time. It's magic. The little yellow diamond, we're going to stretch it out. And then our leaf, we're going to place with our blueberry. You can decide to make it bigger or smaller, or maybe if you want it tucked behind your blueberry, this is a bit of a pro tip, right click, order, send to back, because remember in graphic design and digital design, your most recent item will be on the top. Look at that. Where's our blueberry? We can even rotate it, but I think that's looking pretty good for our blueberry.
I think it's looking great. We have a number of students in the chat that are saying, yep, they've got their blueberries. It looks great. I feel like we might need to show that teardrop one more time, though. So,
oh, yes.
Students, if you didn't catch the teardrop, now is your chance. Take a look up at the screen. Emma is going to show you how to create that teardrop again. Here we go.
Absolutely. So I went back to my shape menu. The teardrop is 4 over, 3 down, because you know, we're talking math today. Carrie and I we love design, but we love math. Teardrop, you just click and drag to shape it however you'd like. I reversed things this time. I did a darker fill color, and I did the green all the way at the bottom. And then for my border color, which is right next door, I went for a lighter green. I'm sticking with the 4-pixel border. And then the magical part, and I'm going to zoom in even more for this magical part. There is on shapes, some of them, not a circle because some shapes just don't have it. We can kind of pull out to like make it more look like a leaf. That little die, like I kind of like pull it out a little bit. And then from there, I'm just going to place it in with my blueberry. If you want your leaf, so it's not covering any part of your blueberry, right click, order, send back. Look at that. We have a beautiful blueberry. Now, students, I want to just to brace yourself. We're actually going to do 3 components of we're essentially making a tile. Don't mind the grid lines. I'm going to pull those off. I must have just hit a key. I have some grid lines on. I'm going to get rid of those. But with your blueberry, we're going to select all of it by clicking and dragging. And we are going to group them. Yep. Right click group, because we want them all together and we don't want them to move in our tile. So I'm going to show that one more time. Click and drag. So all the blueberries, all the leaves, everything I've created are together. Right click group. And once they're grouped, the beautiful thing is now I can move them all together. And in just a minute, we're going to be moving on to our second component of this digital design. All right, Carrie, I believe the next component is the 4-petal flower. So do you think you could tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, I'm kind of excited to talk about this one because it's near and dear to my heart. I love flowers so much. My girl's middle name is Flower. I named her Wabigwan, and that's how you say it in Anishinaabe. And out here in Plains Creek country, you say Wapakwani. And one of the things that I wanted to share from one of my awesome other coworkers was he said, here in Treaty 6, we have the 5-petal, 4-petal, I think he said 5-petal, that being of special significance to the region because it's wild rose country. And one of the things that he reminded me of is when we do beadwork, there's a certain type of flowers or leaves that would usually belong to a family. And I don't know if I said this earlier, but I beaded for almost 20 years. And that's where my my design inspiration comes from. So I try and make my flowers look like my beadwork, the flowers that I create. So a lot of the teachings that I was taught about beadwork is you can tell if somebody is from Anishinaabe country from the florals that they have. They'll have more leaves out east, different types of flowers. And one of the things that I learned recently too is out here in Treaty 6, we have geometric designs. So I think that's really important to note when I'm doing my work. I always look to the land because the land entails history. And if you are serious about art, go to the land, look at how it looks like, look at how the flower is shaped, look at how the flower is shaped in the daytime and how the sun shines on it. So I love flowers. And yeah, like one of the things that I just wanted to close with was I've always loved art, and I feel like I was so lucky to have art embedded in my life. I was so lucky to have my family members as artists, and they were painters, they were bead artists, they are musicians, and they always told me to look back and to look at who you are and have that piece of your art. Yeah, I just carried a lot of the art teachings that were passed to me from my grandmother, from my father, and he showed me how beautiful a beaded flower can be, that I'm obsessed with. And that's why I'm here sharing with you my love of flowers. And yeah, that's what I wanted to share about the flower teaching.
And we are so lucky to have you here passing this on, not just to me and to Emma and Sandy, but all of these students. We're just so fortunate to have you sharing that with us. So thank you. Emma, what do you think? Do you think you can design this flower in Google Slides?
Yeah, and Carrie, you have I love flowers too, but you are just changing the way that I think about these things in this world. And I'm so thankful. And again, I'm so honored. So let's dive in to this petal. Now, students, I want to just remind you, I haven't done a background color yet. And I'm going to do that at the end because I want to just explore the colors of my blueberries and of my flowers. And if you choose a background color like to begin with for this slide, it might kind of limit your color palette. And I got that advice from Carrie that we'll choose a vibrant background color to finish this off. So let's do the 4-petal flower. We're going to go back into our shape menu, and this is where some beautiful aspects of math are going to come in and why we love Google Slides for doing this. So with our 4-petal flower, we're going to create a bit of an oval. You can decide how big you would like. Carrie, what color flower are you feeling today?
Red.
Oh, red. Yes. So let's do that. We are going to go in. I'm going to choose like quite a vibrant red. And I think for my fill color, there's so many options. I might choose this, and look at this, light red berry 2. I think that was meant to be. I'm going to choose that for my outline color. And again, sticking with the 4-pixel border. So I have followed, the same steps as I did for a blackberry or blueberry. The only thing I've done is kind of made it into an oval. Now, this is where some math part will come in. We're going to duplicate, and actually maybe students, I'm going to show you that one more time just to be sure. I went into my shapes. I got an oval. This will be one of my petals for my 4-petal flower. Carrie chose red, and I love red too. We're going to do dark red too for our fill color. You can choose any color that you're feeling today. And for my border, I chose light red berry 2 and making it a 4-pixel color. When we did the blueberry, I did show you about my favorite tool, the duplicating. So we're going to be doing quite a bit of duplicating today, and watch this amazing math rotation in Google Slides. So if I duplicate my first petal, and see that little like blue circle there, that's my rotator. Well, I'm going to rotate it 90 degrees. And then I have my second petal. You can use your arrow keys to decide where you'd like it. And you probably guessed it. We are going to duplicate again. And this is where your teachers are like, yeah, math transformations, my favorite. We're going to rotate another 90. So we get down to 180. Just going down here, where are we? 180. And it doesn't have to be exact. I just like math. It doesn't have to be exact. So I've done another one. I'm going to duplicate again, or just you already have one horizontal. Go ahead and duplicate that again. And look at that. I have 4 petals all the way set up in my flower. Oh, I love it together. Now, students, you're probably thinking, well, it's maybe missing like a middle part. So we can go back and get another circle. And let's go ahead and do that. And I'm going to hold down Shift and make sure it's perfectly symmetrical. And I did notice in a bunch of Carries, I think you have a number of ones that have kind of like a blue with a yellow. But students, you're welcome in that form to kind of let us know what colors you're choosing for our flowers.
I just wanted to add for all the teachers in the crowd, Science 7 lesson right here, parts of a flower.
Yeah, and not to mention Math 7, well, at least in BC anyway, you know, different rotations, and we're even going to get into reflections. So I love it. I just want to give a shout out. We have Sahar and Michaela and Angela and Addie, Audrey, Phaedra, and I don't know if I get to, but I do know Humphrey, and he's really excited to, he wanted to give a shout out to his brother, David. So Humphrey, there you go. You sound like a wonderful brother. Carrie, what are we feeling for the center? What color are you feeling today?
I like green. I love all shades of green. So I'll let you choose the shade. I love going with like green leaves, green stems.
I love it. Well, maybe I'll do a yellow inside with that kind of dark. We'll tie in the dark green of the blueberry leaf. I like it. So we have our flower now. And students, we are going to add one more component to our tile here. And you'll notice that I have these 2 tucked up kind of in the left-hand corner, and that's on purpose. So if you're like, Emma, there is so much room on this Google slide. Like, why are they kind of like tucked up together? And that's because we are going to kind of turn our designs into a tile, and we're going to duplicate and rotate and reflect. So stay tuned. Now, Carrie, the 5-petal flower is also really important. And one thing I'll do before I dive into the 5-petal flower is I am just going to group my 4-petal flower, just in case I want to overlap things a little bit. So students, I am clicking and dragging, making sure not to get any components of the blueberry, and I am grouping the 4-petal flower together. So I will have the capacity to move it if you'd like. Now you'll notice on the example that this one had like some vines. And you might think, wow, there isn't really a shape for that in Google Slides. And you're right. Like you could maybe use a crescent and get really creative there. But here's a design hack for you. And Carrie, you're not even going to believe what I did to get some of your vines. I actually went in and inserted word art. Insert word art. And I typed the letter E. That's right, Carrie. I snuck some letter E's into the design without you even knowing it. I then went in and got like a handwriting font. One of my favorite is Sacramento. And all I did was adjust the fill color. And look at that, Carrie. Carrie, did you have any idea I snuck some letters into your design?
Not at all.
So I snuck some letters in. Once that's created, you can rotate them. You can tuck them in because you'll notice in the design, we had some like vines sticking around. I'm going to show you that again. I insert word art. I type the letter E. I'm sure some other letters will work great. Let me know in the form if you're like, yeah, Emma, E's are good, but so is this letter. I chose Sacramento for my font, but other ones will work. A handwriting font. I selected a green. And then you can adjust the sizing. You can stretch it out. You can make it smaller. And then I snuck these little vines in with my flower. There's a little pro design tip for you.
Emma, Conrad has a pro design tip. You could have probably also used the number 6, maybe the number 9, letter E. Think of all of the letters that we
A
could
handwritten L might look nice too.
Right. Very cool.
There's always just little like design hacks. So I'm going to sneak these in if you want to put them on the bottom and like tuck them behind like that. But you can rotate and arrange. That's what we like Carrie and I love about these floral patterns is you really have the power to make them your own. And I'm going to pull that one up a little bit. Oh, I'm super happy with that.
Love it. Now, Emma, I have some bad news for you.
What's that?
I don't think we have time for the 5-petal flower.
I might just throw it in without, I can just show students how to duplicate. We might just duplicate and put another 4-petal flower in.
Maybe that sounds like a great idea because we are running out of time.
All right, not to worry, students. Let's like get into the powerhouse of this design. So we can group all this and we're going to group it so that's all together. And for a pattern, I would kind of put another, if we had time, I might adjust this to a 5-petal flower, but I'm going to kind of sneak it in there and push this one up a little bit. You'll notice they're all tucked together. And this one, I'm going to ungroup it really quickly just to adjust the colors so we have some contrast. Again, I just duplicated like I've been doing. Let's go purple on these ones with maybe, ooh, that looks kind of cool. Let's go, there's some outline. And I'm just going to change that so it looks a little bit different. So now, students, brace yourself, and I'm going to zoom out a little bit so you can get the full effect. We have done 3 items. You may have not had time quite for the third, but 2 is just fine. We have the blueberry, our 4-petal flower, and I just put in another 4-petal flower, but you could easily duplicate and add a 5th, make it a 5-petal flower as well. Now, here's the power of grouping. Make sure all of those are together. So I have clicked and dragged and put all of that together.
And this is where students, you guys are probably head down, still coloring your flowers. Heads up, take a look at the screen. You need to group your objects because magic is coming soon. So show that one more time, Emma.
If this is your first time paying attention to me today, this is the time to do so. So I have grouped my items. Again, I clicked, I right click, I've grouped them and all together. We are going to start with a horizontal reflection. In the world of Google, it is a right click, or sorry, I need to duplicate it first, students. I'm going to duplicate it and then right click, rotate. And I'm going to rotate, I'm going to go flip horizontally. So math teachers, this is a reflection on the y-axis. A little math connection for you. We are flipping it horizontally and we are putting it up here and we're lining it up. Oh, that's looking so beautiful. Look at that. So again, I hit Control D. I duplicated my 3 objects. I hit right click, rotate, flip horizontally. Now, this is where like the fabric stores are going to come in and maybe Carrie's working on her next design today. Stay tuned. I'm now going to click and drag and get everything. I'm getting absolutely everything. I'm going to duplicate. This time I am going to rotate, flip vertically. Math teachers, this is a reflection on the x-axis. So we're going to do a flip vertically and look at that pattern that has emerged. Like, look at us go. Oh, I am in awe. Now, students, if you've gotten here today, that is amazing. I just want to show you kind of a few different things you can do to like extend, and maybe after this session today, you want to keep working on it a little bit. But watch this. I can then, kind of drag this out so it fits half of my slide, give or take. I can then duplicate. I don't want it quite to the edges. That's dangerous. Watch this. I can duplicate the whole thing again. And that is where and how, and Carrie can correct me if I'm wrong, when they're creating things and when people are creating beautiful fabrics like Carrie, that is where those mathematical reflections, the horizontal reflections, the vertical reflections make for these gorgeous patterns. From here, we can finish it off with a background color. And I'm going to let Carrie pick because Carrie is like the queen of these beautiful fabrics. Carrie, what do you suggest for this background color?
Oh, decisions. I've been thinking about color theory, and I'm thinking the majority of the design there is red. So what color would red stand good behind? So what color would bring out the red?
Yeah, like my gut almost says like a purple, even though, or like a yellow.
Something light, I'm thinking.
Something light-ish, you think?
Like light orange, light purple.
Ooh. Yeah.
And so if you missed that, students, Emma went to background. So as long as you're clicked on the slide itself, you click background, and then that's how you can choose your background color.
Well, let's just see. And this is where I actually like to explore. Ooh. I like this one, but you'll notice it's actually the same color as I did for the outlines of my petals. So you can't see them with that background color. So maybe we then switch to like a yellow might look good.
We have Saba and Jordan and Anja and Anfal and Ben and Alex and Hashifa, they're suggesting a bunch of colors too. Ooh, I like this one.
Now, students, this is going to blow your mind. And these are like maybe geared towards like our older students. But if you're then wondering like, how can this become a fabric? And students, it's okay. It's okay if you are here because this is beautiful and this is a great place to be. But if you're an older grade student and you want to challenge yourself, look at this. I can shrink that one pattern that I made, turn it into about a quarter of the slide, and then watch this. Now you can see my cursor is getting stuck a little bit because there's just so much going on. But now look at this. And it looks like I have a bigger piece of fabric. And then I can duplicate this. Look at the power. So it's almost like a stamp. And I remember when I met Carrie for the first time, she kind of told me about those patterns and the stamps. And this is an extension activity. So look at that. Whoa! Carrie, look what we made together today.
I just wanted to share, everything we created was a lot of time put into researching. We squeezed into 1 hour. So if you're just beginning, if you're having a hard time, that's good. That means learning is happening. Start and focus with one flower. Practice it over and over and over again. I did not get digital design the first time. So I would watch videos maybe 10 times over just to get the techniques. I would watch videos on color theory. You practice the simple things over and over again to create something bigger, and then you tile it to come up with a final product for textile design. So I'm really happy to have shared all of my pandemic learning that I did over 2 years.
Right.
Well, Carrie, we're so thankful. Your story is incredible. And I love your message about exploring passions. and students. I hope that after today you've, explored some new design things, but also looking at nature in a different way and those everyday beautiful things in our life, incorporating them into other aspects of our world, such as digital design. I want to just give a few shout outs. We have Brielle and Charlotte and Nicholas and Darson and Gabriella. And I think we have a grade 6 class of Holy Cross. They were wanting to shout out. So there you go. I'm so proud of all of you for designing. Now, don't leave us yet. We have a couple little things to finish off today.
And we also need to bring Sandy back to see how things were going backstage with her. Sandy, welcome back. How did you do with your flowers? Students, let us know in the forum. How did you do with your flowers? Sandy.
Well, I'm pretty excited. I love the colors that I've picked. I've been able to do a cluster of blueberries, 3 different flowers. I didn't quite get the duplicating, but I'm going to go back and I'm going to practice it later. But I have a beautiful slide, colorful. Yeah, it's been so much fun to learn. I like what Carrie was saying about learn one of these skills and practice it over and over again, right? And then it just becomes rote. We understand it. And then we can start, adding to that. So much fun, Carrie. So much fun, Emma. Love it.
Sandy, can we put you on the spot and would you share your screen for us, or is that too much pressure?
I'm happy
Sandy,
to.
I can't wait.
And while we're waiting on Sandy to do that, teachers, you're going to receive a copy of Emma's instructions. So I just want to go through. Emma has some slides here that she's going to give those instructions again on how you can duplicate, how you can do the transformations. So that is coming to your email inbox. Of course, you can just rewatch this recording, rewind, but we have it. Oh my goodness, Sandy, this is amazing.
Ta-da!
Oh, Sandy!
So I didn't really get to the duplicating, but I tried to play a little bit with the colors. Carrie, I was thinking about you and how I don't think any flower, even if it's the same color, really is quite the same color. So I mixed it up a little bit and yeah, that's what I've got.
Sandy, that is so beautiful. I'm super proud of you.
Thank you very much. You're an excellent teacher, Emma, and Carrie, wonderful inspiration. Can I share one cute little thing? Carrie, you were talking about blueberries, and I picked out one of my very first books that I ever bought as a child, and it was all about blueberries for Saul. And so I was thinking about that. I pulled it off my cupboard here, but you've inspired me for sure today.
And thank you for that, Sandy. And Carrie, I think you also have something that maybe you could show because we have about 2 or 3 minutes left. Could you show us those strawberries that you had before and tell us about those?
I made these yesterday while I was supposed to be prepping for today's presentation. So this is an art that I'm just learning. It's on Parfleche. And I just kind of took dark red, light red, and then you have the little specks all in one. And yeah, I love art. Try anything. I made these yesterday.
So great. Well, with that, students, Jamal, thank you so much for being us. There is your shout out. For those of you we weren't able to give shout outs, we are so sorry, but Gabriella, thank you. Gabriella said that your work is beautiful, Sandy. So that's short. Great. A couple more. Mrs. Lynch's class is here and says, thank you, Emma, for walking us through that. And Carrie as well for the inspiration. Who else? Oh, Sequoia. We've got Erin from Yellowknife is here. Welcome to you and your class up in Yellowknife. I think that is all the time we have. But students, I sure hope that you'll continue with your floral designs. Carrie, again, thank you so very much for the inspiration. Emma for the design tips, walking us through it. Sandy Curry as well, and Google Canada for letting this be possible for free for all of your teachers. We thank you all so much for joining us, and hopefully you will continue to design, and learn. So with that, we'll say goodbye for now, but we hope to see you in another lesson soon. Happy designing!